Okay, this is the homework check for page 613. Again, we worked this page about 3 times, just doing different things at different times. Um, so we're doing page 613, problems 13 through 23 odd, but today you're doing midpoints instead of distances. Okay, here we go, number 13. 13 was 12.3 and negative 8.3. Alright, so I'm adding the x's, 12 plus negative 8 over 2, which is going to be 4 over 2, which is 2. I'm adding the y's, 3 plus 3, which is 6 over 2. 6 over 2 makes 3. So I got an answer of 2 and 3 for the first one. Check that one. Number 15, you got 6, 8, 3, 4. 6, 8, 3, and 4. Again, add the x's, 6 plus 3 over 2, which is 9 over 2, which is 4 and 1/2, 4.5. I don't care if you have decimal or fraction. The other one's 8 plus 4, which is 12 over 2, 12 over 2, which is 6. My answer here is 4 and 1/2 and 6. That's right. Number 17, I'm going negative 3 and 8 and 5 and 4. Negative 3 and 8, 5 and 4. So I'm adding 5 plus negative 3, which is going to be a 2. 2 over 2 is a 1. That's the x, the y. 8 plus 4 is 12. 12 over 2 makes 6. 1 and 6, that's my answer. 19, I got negative 8, negative 4 for the first point. The second point's negative 3, negative 8. Again, you're plotting these points. Well, you're not plotting them now, but we're wanting to find out if you plotted the points and drew the line, what's the middle point on the line, right? The midpoint. Add the x's, negative 8 plus negative 3 makes negative 11 over 2, which is negative 5 and 1/2, or negative 5 and 1/2, negative 5.5. I got negative 4 plus negative 8, which is negative 12 over 2, which is negative 6. My answer is negative 5.5, negative 6. Number 21, we just have 2 more of these. I got 4 and 2, and 6 and negative 2/3. Right, so we're adding. I did this one for you, I think, something like it in your notes. 4 plus 6, I think I did do this in the notes, was 10 over 2, which is 5. And then 2 plus the negative 2/3 over 2, which is 1 and 1/3 over 2, which we know what this is. This is 4/3 divided by 2, which is 4/3 times 1 over 2, which equals 4 over 6, which reduces to 2/3. So the y value here is 2/3. So I got 5 and then 2/3 for the y value. 23, last problem. I got 4/5 and negative 1. And I got 2 and negative 1/2. Alright, so we're going to go 4/5 plus 2, which is 2 and 4/5 over 2, which I'm going to have to do some work on that. Let's go ahead up here to the top. Remember, that's 5 times 2 is 10 plus 14 halves. Sorry, 14/5. 14 over 5 divided by 2, which is really 14 over 5 times 1/2, which is really 14 over 10, which is really 7 over 5, which is really 1 and 2/5. Right, just doing your fraction work. So I got 1 and 2/5 is right for the x. I don't care if you leave that as 7/5. Improper is good with me. I don't know what the decimal is. It'd be 1.4, I think is what the decimal would be on that if you have a decimal maybe. Y plus y, negative 1 plus negative 1/2, that's just negative 1 and 1/2, right? So we have negative 1 and 1/2 over 2. This got to be changed. That's 3 halves divided by 2. So 3 halves divided by 2, which is equal to 3 halves times 1/2, which is equal to 3/4. right? And I guess we're doing negative here because we're dividing a positive by negative. So I like negative 3/4. Check your signs. That's what I got. 1 2/5, negative 3/4. That's the last one. Okay, so check this. Correct it, file it, make sure you got all the work that goes with it. Hopefully I answered the questions you might have had by doing this.